Hey there, how's it going? I got another cool shirt here. I used to have a bunch of these. I was looking for one that says Got Wine, but with an H in there, but I can't find it anywhere. If you know where I can find such a shirt, put it down in the comments. Anyhow, you can, whatever meaning you want to attach to that is fine by me. It's one of my favorite shirts. Anyhow, today I'm going to talk about celebrating. Now, years ago, when one of my mentors, real estate mentors, talked about always celebrate your accomplishments, no matter how small they are. And it's a lot harder than you would think, because sometimes we celebrate what some of us think are the most stupidest thing. It's like, I didn't accomplish anything. It's like learning to tie your shoes as an adult. Excuse me a second. I should not drink carbonated beverages before I go on camera. But anyhow, there you have it. But I want to talk today about celebrating things. And you don't have to celebrate. You don't have to go and buy yourself a new wardrobe. You don't have to go out on a cruise. You don't have to go out for a big expensive dinner. I mean, celebrating, let me give you an example. I just did it, and that's what gave me the idea to do this. I've got a part-time job. It doesn't pay well, but it's primarily, I started out doing it as volunteer work, for my community, and then they offered to pay me. What is wrong with them? Anyhow, so the nature of my job is I tend to be on call now and then. Not anything urgent, it's not medical or anything, but I do some supervision in a small company. And anyhow, when I make phone calls and texts to talk to employees and help them do things, and they help me do things, I just keep a running track of the time I spend doing that. And it's not, like I said, it's not a lot of money. But I was looking at it's like I did an hour's worth of work today. And I'm not going to tell you how much I take home for that. It's not a lot, but I turned around in my seat after I got off the phone call, and I tallied up my time, and it was for an hour, and I went like, oh my God, I made this amount in an hour. And, I was just getting excited, and I just did it for fun. But you know what? The feelings inside me changed. I mean, I was excited about that. I felt there was like a positive feelings rushed over my body, and it was surprising. And I forgot about why we need to celebrate things. I mean, even small stuff. It's like when you're a parent and you have a small child, they're trying to learn how to walk and the like, and you're just encouraging them and the whole bit, and they first stand up and they can let go of their furniture or your leg, and they're standing. Oh, you just get so excited, and they smile too, because they can tell you're excited for what they did. Or you're training your dog some new tricks or some sort of obedience thing, like sit, stay, or you teach them to roll over, and when they get it, you get all excited and they get excited. It's contagious. It's contagious. You do it around friends or family, and it brings up good feelings with them. And I got to tell you, I got out of the habit of doing that. Celebrate large things like buying a new car, or back in the days when I was working for a living, getting a promotion, or going to a new company and having bigger challenges and a bigger paycheck, things like that. You celebrate that. Those are big things. But small stuff as well, if you're in school and you're learning a subject and you're struggling through something in that class and you finally get it, say for math, you get to the point where you can you really understand why you do this math equation, what it's for, and now you can do it where 10, 20 minutes ago you're banging your head against the wall. Stop for a moment, celebrate. If you're in the middle of the library, you probably shouldn't stand up and go yeehaw, but on the inside you can do it and smile. It makes you feel so good. And the thing is when you have strong emotions, whether they're negative or positive, it kind of puts a little check mark in your memory, little memory that happened, and you can look back at your life or look back at your week, and how many celebrations have you had? I mean, one of the things, and I admit I got out of the habit, I need to start doing is a gratitude log, or a journal on accomplishments, things like that. When you do things, make a note of it, whether it's on your phone or on a piece of paper or a journal, whatever. When you have gratitude for what you do, this goes into that, because that's one of the things that when we celebrate even small things, it brings out the gratitude as we're thankful that we were able to do that. And it affects our mood positively when we're around others. Say when we're in a team, if you're in a work team or a sports team and you win the game, or say you're in a company softball league and you hit a home run, everybody celebrates. But the thing is in our daily lives we start not doing that. I'll give you an example, and this is a very painful example, but when I first went to college, because I had too much fun, I flunked out the first year. Had nothing to do with my ability to be a student. It's just I was away from home for a while, so I had a good time, and my grades suffered. But one of the things I needed to do for myself and for my parents, who were helping me get through school, was to prove to us that I was really capable. Because one of the things they told me at the university is like, well, most people that have SAT scores this low usually don't make it here at this university. And that's a whole nother story. But anyhow, I went back for summer school. I took a class that was a really good class. It wasn't for anything in particular. It was a speech class, and it was like a 101 class. And it wasn't for speech. It was about communications. This elements of communication, I think is what it was. But anyhow, I aced that class. And I remember when I got my final grade, before I got the official one in the mail, I went home, and the only person that was home when I got home was my dad. And my dad he was in many ways very stoic, didn't emote much. But I remember he was in the breakfast nook in the kitchen and reading the newspaper, and I said to my dad, Dad, I really proved it. I can do well in college classes. I want to go back to full time. And I was riding high. My dad didn't even look over the paper, didn't look me in the eye. He just said, well, son, I knew you could do it. That was it. Talk about getting kicked in the getting kicked in your egos. Man, that hurt. That really hurt. So as far as celebrating, you don't need to do it with other people. I mean, it's a great thing to do, but you can do it yourself. Here's your hand, your own hand. Here's your shoulder. You can pat yourself on the back. You can reach that. We should do that more often. Some of the things that I was doing some research here on what kind of things that are good about even celebrating the little things. It says it anchors us in the present. Okay. A lot of times when we're thinking about life, we're always thinking about either the past or the future. We have goals. We gotta, what's on our to-do list for tomorrow. We're always looking for what we got to do next, and we just move on with life. We just leave things. And when you become in the here and now, like Carl Rogers, one of my favorite psychology subjects that I studied. I like back in the day his therapy model. is being present is a very important thing. That means you focus on what you're doing now. You are engaged with living at the moment. If you're working with others, you're engaged with them. I mean, you are in that, the here and now, the present. He talked about that. And like I said, it also anchors it in your memory. But you're more likely to remember the little celebration you did, a little accomplishment you did in the future, than if you just walked on and walked on to the next task. It also fosters gratitude, which is what I just said. I mean, you become thankful that you're able to accomplish this, whether it's of others, part of your faith, part of your ability. You get thankful, and when you have gratitude, like I said, have a gratitude journal. Write these things down, so if you are struggling or having a bad day, you can look back and look at your accomplishments. You can say, hey, I've done that before. I remember soon after I was out of college, I drove cross country, and I never thought I would do that. I drove cross country and came back home, and I did it all by myself. I sound like a little kid, all by myself. I didn't go with anyone. I just did it. I drove from LA to close to Boston and back again. And I never thought I could do that. But here's the thing is, after I did that, when there's some new challenges coming up, I went like, hey, I drove cross country. I can do this, because other things you do that are not as challenging as that, they don't look so challenging anymore. The other thing about celebrating is that it strengthens relationships. So like if you are on a team, whether it's a sports team or a work team, especially when you have accomplishments together and you celebrate together, what do they call it? Team building exercises. We did that in the corporate world as well. But anyhow, those good feelings are shared, and it brings relationships closer, whether it's your family or your sports team, whatever. It improves that as well. I got a list here, so just give me a second. One of these days I'll learn how to edit, then you don't have to listen to me think out loud, as if that's going to happen anytime soon. What else? What else does this one list say? And it helps us find meaning, and this is something I really need to work on. Not on my own, but in these videos that I do, I need to teach about that, because I'm not going to go too far down that rabbit hole, but a lot of what we do for very superficial things. And when I say superficial, it doesn't mean they're not necessary. It's like work. You work for that income. You work for those benefits, like whether it's health insurance, life insurance, whatever, your income, okay? Those aren't meaningless, but as far as why you do what you do, it's like Stephen Covey said, always begin with the end in mind, whether it's a goal or in your life. Think about the end. Think about your headstone. This is one thing I found was really powerful. What do you want written as your epitaph? Meaning. And so the thing is when you get excited about making an accomplishment, it feels like you really did something that mattered, even if it's just to you. It's meaningful. I accomplished this. So anyhow, let's see what other kind of things I want to talk about. I just did this as spur of the moment because I did that little celebration in my chair, and I thought, wow, I got to talk about this. Let's see, what does it say to do? How to cultivate a practice of celebration. Keep a journal. I talked about that. Share your joy. I'm sharing it with you. You share it with your friends, whatever. It helps bring other people up too, unless they're really jealous of things you do. I mean, we'll always find that. It's like my dad, when I told him that I aced that class, got an A in it. I expect him to be happy for me, but it wasn't there. So not every time you share your joy with other people do they share it back with you. Let's see here, create rituals, simple treat, the end of the work week, simple treat, light a candle before dinner, whatever. So however you celebrate, do it in a way that's meaningful to you. Let's see here. Reflect and savor. That's one of the reasons why you keep the journal, is that you can look back at your accomplishments and your celebrations, things like that. Not only will it help you get through the tough times, but also show you that what you're made of, what you're capable of. It's like when I drove cross country. I've done it once. I could do it again. I don't want to. I'd rather fly. I don't really like driving for long periods. But it's the accomplishment. It's. I remember I was a counselor in Y Camp one summer, and me and one other counselor had a break for a while, and we went hiking. And neither one of us were, mountaineering kind of people, but we. The guy said, hey, why don't we go see if we can get up on that hill? And so I said, sure, we got time. Let's go do that. Well, we were climbing up some rocks, and I'm not talking about the kind with, excuse me, with ropes and all that. It was kind of a staircase. It looked really easy. And after we did that, we came down around on the other side of the valley and looked up at what we climbed. And the first thing I thought of was like, we could have died. We didn't have any gear to keep us from, if we slipped, we could have gone all the way down to the bottom. But we looked at that and he said, man, we did that. We climbed that. And, gave each other the high five. And we had that to share as long as we were together at that camp with the kids. And it was one of those things I'll never forget. I was able to do that. And those little accomplishments, when you look back at them, when you're facing something new, you can say, well, I've done something like this before. I can do this. It'll give you the confidence to move forward on other tasks and other challenges. I think that's about it. But the thing is, make it a habit. Make it part of your personality, your lifestyle to celebrate. And one last thing. If you're a teacher or a coach or a physician, whatever, if you're in a helping field, learn, if you don't do it already, learn to celebrate their accomplishments. One of the things I since I was in college, when I started doing things like tutoring, is that I developed this value that I didn't want to work with people who just became dependent upon me. They needed me for things. I wanted to teach them how to take care of themselves. Like when I tutored math, I taught them study habits, study skills that could be used in any subject, not just math. And not only did their grades would improve by me tutoring them in math, but they leveraged those skills in other classes. And I remember them telling me, hey, I got an A on this test and I hate that class. I mean, we celebrated, I went high five, pat them on the back, whatever. And when they get to the point to where they go, Don, I don't need this tutoring anymore. I can do this by myself now. I developed the confidence and the skills to be able to do this without assistance. And yeah, did I lose money? Yeah, I no longer have that person as a client, but it felt good, really good, that they were able to do that, and I helped them get to that point. So celebrate other people's successes as well and teach them to celebrate, because you know what? There's times in our lives where we don't have a lot to be thankful for or celebrate. Be thankful for it anyhow. It's like one of the things that Myron Golden says, talking about gratitude. When you wake up in the morning, be thankful you have eyes to see, ears to hear, legs they'll stand up when you get out of bed and take you where you want to go. It's very simple. You got money in the bank, a roof over your head, a car that runs, I hope, a job, even little things. Just be thankful. Even if it's on a day to where you just don't know how you're going to get through the day, have the gratitude. That brings your spirits up to where you can face the challenges for the day and makes more celebrations. Anyhow, with that, I just want to say, hey, celebrate the little stuff. I don't care how little it is. I don't care if you make minimum wage for your hourly rate or you make $60,000 for a 1-hour speech. Celebrate it, all right? So remember, start celebrating your little things. I don't care how little they are. See you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.